Hello everyone, my name is Stefan and welcome to my channel SPD Nordic Vision. So today I'm very glad that I invite a very close friend of mine and she's also Icelandic. So first of all, Þórdís, would you like to give everyone an introduction in Icelandic and English?
Já, ekki málið, Stefán.
Já.
Ég Þórdís, ég stjórnmálafræðinemi hérna á Háskóla Íslands og hef verið mentor fyrir nokkra nemendur senasta árið. So I am Þórdís. I'm a political science student at the University of Iceland and I've been the mentor for a few international students for the past year.
Yes, welcome to my channel.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so probably most people don't know like how we met each other. So basically Þórdís is my mentor. So I joined the mentor group, mentor program last year when I came to Iceland, and Þórdís just happened to be my mentor in my mentor group.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so as you probably know from the hint that we have already mentioned, in today's video we're going to talk about mentor program as well as how does it feel like to be a student here in Iceland. So without further ado, shall we start it?
Please.
Yeah. Okay, so I actually always wanted to ask you, how have you decided to become a mentor?
Well, it was my first time mentoring actually when I met you and our fellow students. However, I think the theme of this chat is going to be, well, at least from my experience, is the pandemic.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, I got an email that was offering or kind of begging students to become mentors for incoming international students, and it seemed at the time closed off in my room with having not spoken to people for a while, like the best idea ever. So I sent an email back like, yeah, that's great, let's become mentors. Let me guide the new souls, you know?
Yeah.
So that is very much in the spur of the moment kind of a moment thing, you know? That's how I became a mentor.
Right, it's sort of like a bit like an accident.
Yes, a very happy accident, yes.
Yeah, happy accident, yeah.
It was. I had not considered it before. It wasn't something I was going to do, but the pandemic changed a lot of things, and I became open to a lot of new avenues of student life. So.
Yes. I was literally very worried because I was living in Greece back then before I moved to Iceland for study, and I wasn't sure that if I will be able to make it. That's the reason why I was so kind of like monitoring my process with the school. So as soon as I got the email from the University of Iceland that, hey, here is a mentor kind of program, would you like to join it? So I signed up immediately. Yeah. Okay, so the second question I would like to ask you is that, do you enjoy your mentor experience? Like with us, we four fellow mentees.
Yes, I call them my babies. So if I slip up later, that's why. Because I always refer to my kids, you know, my babies.
Yeah.
But of course you're my mentees. I did enjoy it. It was a lot more work than I thought. Because when it was originally sort of how it was put in by the university, it was that here are international students who need some connection to Icelandic community and the social networking and somebody they can contact if they get sick, if they need assistance, if something happens, then they're not going to be, you know, lost at sea here.
Yeah.
But it became so much more than that.
I think also because of COVID has made things more difficult.
Yes, it was, and I think that's kind of why we went super hard with it, you know?
Yeah.
We decided instead of like being more chill and kind of taking a step back, we just went all in, which is why we had a really good, I got lucky, I got good kids, you know? So that's why I don't know if I do it again, because I think I have this fear that I just got lucky with 4 great kids. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Although there was a little bit kind of dramatic thing happened. There was one kid was not responding, but then luckily we got another kid. Would you like to share that story?
So immediately when I got your names and everything, I of course, sent out a rescue email. Are you guys okay? Come see me. That kind of email.
Yeah.
And there was I got one kid who never responded to any of my emails. So if you're out there, call me. But no. However, one of my mentees had a friend who she was traveling with, and they were living together, and they were doing this together as a couple of friends.
Yeah.
And I just immediately snatched her up. I just went, I had an extra spot free in my heart, so I adopted her as well.
Yeah.
I was having 4 kids, so I'm not missing one. So.
Yeah, so eventually you got the right number.
I got the right number. I got the kids. Yeah. I got there in the end.
Yeah. Okay, so this question that I'm going to ask also get a lot of questions from other students. Would you consider mentor program for those newly coming international students?
Who are just coming to Iceland?
Yes. If so, and why is that?
I would suggest it to any coming in international student who has not been familiar with Icelandic community and who doesn't have social ties, because that is the number one thing you're going to get out of this. You're going to get social ties. You're going to meet other people who are international students. You're going to meet Icelandic students, and you're going to just get to know, the social aspect of being a university student in Iceland.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest thing to get into. I think in any country, any university, even if it's your own, because like when I was starting as a student, getting into the social aspect, you just signed up for stuff. And when you're international students, you don't always know where or how to do that or find information. So that's going to be your key to get to know that. So definitely sign up. Sometimes you get really lucky and you just stay friends for life.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yes.
Alright, so since you mentioned of being a student in Iceland, so I was wondering, how does it feel like to be a student here in Iceland? And do you feel like you've been supportive, and do you feel like you have a lot of choices to do other stuff?
Yeah, I think so. Well, because our university, the University of Iceland, is paid for by our government. So you don't sink into debt going in most of the time, depending on your life choices. But
certainly not like universities in United States, UK.
Exactly.
It's expensive, crazy expensive.
Crazy expensive. People get sunk into debt for life, and I mean, we hear horror stories and we tell horror stories around the campfire at the university. So, it's not just Iceland, it's also in the Nordic countries that governments pay for higher education, and a lot of emphasis is put on getting a higher education, and therefore you don't have that crazy tuition and life, going after that. But I also think it's important to mention that in Iceland, because we start our school, I'm translating directly, I'm sorry, skólaganga, just a little word out there for you. Our education sort of length is from 6 till 16, which is grunnskóli, and that's the basics, and that you are legally required to go to that school.
Okay.
And then you get what high school is, which is called framhaldsskóli, and that's from 16 till 20 or 19, depending on how you want to switch out the years.
Yeah.
And afterwards, that's when you go to university. And you're still so young when you're going to university here. I think when you're 19, when you're 20, you're still a kid.
Yeah.
And they do offer a lot of support, especially in the first year. And because you have, don't forget, because a lot of people, when you're not just in the first few years of university, but also when you're a graduate student, The childcare support by the university is very good. So if you are like, for instance, I know a few single moms who manage to finish masters and even PhDs at the university. So I think that's amazing. And there's a lot of stuff I think that our student government is fighting for more support.
Yeah.
And will they get there? I don't know, but there's a constant battle. And I do think the university is very fair for, especially considering other universities. So being a student in Iceland, it's excellent. And of course we can complain because we're students, but
yeah.
there's always something. But I don't think it's fair. Well, I think we've got a lot to be happy about as well.
Yeah, I think that's very amazing that no matter what kind of situation you are, if you are a single mom or if you're a married couple or like, you know, whatever situation you are, you all have the equal opportunity to like study and finish the study. So this kind of opportunity is not certainly something that people can do easily in other countries, I think.
Exactly. I think that in that aspect we're very, very blessed. And that's because of that our government has of course put emphasis on childcare, extra childcare for women to finish studying, to get into the workplace, to, you know, for more opportunities and for more equality between the genders.
Yeah.
So, and you can feel that here, and I think you can't. This isn't something heard of in, for instance, America. So.
Yes, definitely. I think that the system here in general is very good and it's working.
Yeah.
Like we have this one number, sort of like ID number called Kennitala.
Yeah.
That is connected to everything. So if you're a student, if you want to do anything, everything, you just use your Kennitala. Like it's so simple and so easily to track things.
Yes, it works because there's so few of us.
Yeah. How many people here? 360?
40. Yeah, I think it's about 300. It's around 350,000. So somewhere just over under. Yeah. And that's the entire nation.
Yes, that's the entire nation.
Entire nation of our country. It's like a small village in Britain or something.
Yeah, but sometimes still, like if you're sitting in a coffee, like in downtown, you still feel like, oh, you're living in a metropolitan area.
Yeah, it has changed in a few years. Now you can't sit down there and be people watching and be like, oh, we're so international. You know, like, ooh.
Yes, exactly.
Or we in London, there's no way to tell. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. So my last question would be. This is something that I was wondering. Have you personally had any sort of international exchange program before? If so, how do you feel like it? Like, as an Icelandic student, being international student in abroad, and the international student here in Iceland, what would you see the differences?
Okay. Yeah, I've not gone abroad myself for study, but I have a lot of friends who have both Icelandic who have gone out and international who have come in.
Right.
And I think, and this is I think the biggest difference because everybody mentioned this. For Icelanders, you have to, like, Iceland's small. Everybody knows somebody who knows that person. You know, it's a small village, really, the entire island. So you're going out of a very, very small pond into the big world. So you're always adapting to something bigger, I think. Whereas international students coming in, you're adapting to something very small and tight-knit. And I think that's the main difference.
Right.
Is that small pond, big world, you know?
Well, one thing that I think because Icelanders speak very good English, so when they're going abroad to study or whatever, they never really had problems with the language. But if foreigners wanted to go into the society here, sometimes, you know, they have to learn Icelandic, and that is kind of a lot of people, including myself, sometimes I feel a bit like suffering because it's not easy language to learn.
No, it's one of the hardest, I think. But no, the language barrier is a real thing here. And while we do, pretty much everybody, if you're gonna talk to anybody in Iceland, you're gonna talk to somebody who speaks English. We're gonna be able to communicate with you pretty well.
Yeah.
Maybe with a heavy accent, but you're gonna understand us. But you're never gonna be Icelandic or a real part. You're always gonna be an outsider until you speak the language, and that's just how the community works. Because there's a lot of patriotism around our Icelandic language. We're very, very protective of it.
Yeah.
And it's used sometimes for good, sometimes for kind of a, you're not one of us kind of a thing, which is of course not ideal.
Yeah.
But there you go.
So language is important. It's a big deal here.
Yes, it's a huge deal. And I know it's mentioned in previous videos that you've done, but a few words or phrases, even if it's just góðan daginn, takk fyrir, hvaða gata þetta, which street is this, just small stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so appreciative because learning Icelandic is unbelievably difficult, and and the effort is appreciated always.
Yes.
Always.
Yes. Well, guys, you see, this is not me saying the importance of Icelandic language. It's come from Icelanders, so
straight from the source.
Yeah, you could choose not to listen to me, but you definitely need to listen to an Icelander. Yeah. Okay, the last little question that I would say how do you think that is it easy for international students actually getting a job here in Iceland?
I think it's gotten a lot easier. If you're a student here and that is on your application, I think that does help.
Yeah.
I do think just a little bit, depends on your field of study. But I think being a student at the university, the fact that you're kind of participating, in the community, which being a student at the university is doing, I think that does help. And there's a lot of difference from just a few years ago. The amount of international students and people traveling from abroad here to work is skyrocketed, because I think from like pre-2010 you didn't see it. It was just kind of an invisible thing, even though there were people here who of course were foreign, who worked here. They weren't even invincible people.
Right.
And now it's more common, it's gotten more, like we said, metropolitan.
Yeah.
Like, my barista was British, so, so it's gotten more common. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. And I do think now that COVID is ending, at least getting less worse.
Yes.
It's gonna open up again. And I think that's exactly when everything's gonna be, teeming with possibilities. Right.
Because COVID and everything is kind of like getting to a better situation.
Yeah.
So there are more and more people are actually thinking of coming to Iceland. Some of them actually thinking of coming to Iceland to study. So is there any kind of things that you would like to say to people who are actually coming to Iceland? Is there anything you would like to say?
Sign up for the mentor program. It's a huge help.
Yes.
That recommend. And there are like dance groups, Lindy Hop and stuff like that. Again, it helps to get into anything you can to see where people are hanging out, going for stuff,
right?
Bars and stuff. Because it's gonna be mostly bars. We're drinkers here. So yeah, everything you can to get into the social aspect. You're gonna get so much more out of your university experience. And we're very closed off people and don't cold to new people, not just foreigners. So don't let that stop you. Just keep, picking at us, and we will eventually mellow out. And don't be afraid to try the food. I know we have terrible food, but sometimes it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's how our interview goes, and we talked about the mentor program, and we talked about how does it feel like as a student in general here in Iceland, and also we had some tips for people, for international students, what are the things that you need to know about if you want to get a job here, or if you are, what kind of sort of supportive kind of programs that you can look at. Well, I want to say a big thank you to come to my channel and share all this information with all the people, my audience, and especially a lot of international students who are coming to Iceland.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so great.
Yeah.
We always have a great time. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you very much for enjoying my channel and enjoying my videos. If you like my videos, please don't forget to subscribe and share my videos with your friends, and you know where you can get the best tips about Iceland. So remember, enjoying your life and þetta reddast.
Þetta reddast.
Bye!
Bye!